I think you're just going to continue to see more fragmentation, and I think it's going to be more micro marketing, and then I think the art will be knowing when to shift out of micro market into more of a mass marketing. I mean, that's what I one of the things
What do you mean
we
by
pride
micro
ourselves.
marketing?
Well, sort of sense in trying to build a story, let's say locally in a market, and then having a sense, and knowing how to read the tea leaves, so to speak, of when it's ready to shift it into a mass media, and then you're going for national TV or national radio. And one of the most important things I think of any marketing endeavor is timing. And so I think you have to really. It's one of the things I think we pride ourselves on is having a good sense of timing things. And it's but it's not a science, it's an art, and imperfect art. We're not perfect at it, but I think that's really that's where I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go more fragmented. I think it's going to be more complex and more efficient. I think efficiency is going to be the key, and so that there may be more outlets and more tools you need to create, but maybe you need to not approach each one on such a grand scale. But that won't be the case with everything. Sometimes you have to approach it with to make a statement. One of the things I was on a panel. God, it was like a number of years ago, around 1999 or 2000, whatever. Around the time the internet sort of first big wave of it, where and everything was going, all the big .com boom, right, in the late 90s and around the year 2000, around the turn of the century there. And there was a feeling, I remember this feeling and everybody was going to work for a .com. It felt like it. Not everybody was, but it felt like everybody who was anybody was going to work for a .com or getting stock options, and and it was like a gold rush, right? Or it was like tulip mania in Holland or something. I mean, it was nuts. And I remember that feeling like, geez, am I missing the boat by not going to work for a .com, like staying at a record label? And I remember I was on a panel at Web Noise around that time. Actually, I remember specifically. It was in November of 1999. And, I was like one of the only major label people at this panel, and I might as well have had a big bullseye on my forehead. And but the one thing that really stuck with me that I said at that convention was that, and it applies today, whatever it is, 7 years later, almost, not quite 6 years later, and I think it'll apply 6 years and 20 years from now. Is I think there are some constants in the entertainment business, which at the end of the day, it's going to always boil down to great music. You can polish it all you want, and you can put all the spin on it you want, and you can hype it up all you want, but if it's not great, people are going to notice it, And I mean, I'm just coming off of this really gratifying run off of this Green Day, American Idiot project. And you know what? It's like, man, it's all about that record, It's, hits are made in the studio. And I think that the constants that will always be there will be great A&R and great marketing differentiation. You have to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, and I think those are really, and that's no trade secret, But I think there was sort of this feeling like, major labels are keeping art back. And that's why I said I should have had a bullseye on my head. We've been the gatekeepers holding the music back, and I think, the only thing that holds great music back is great marketing, is great music and great differentiation in the marketplace. And when I say differentiation, I mean exposure as well. So I think that's where it's going. I think we're going to be even more reliant on great content, and I think even more reliant on greater marketing differentiation, because as you have more avenues of outlets, people still, they're people. They only have so much time. The internet doesn't increase the clock beyond 24 hours in a day, and people's attention span and how much time they have, and so. And the internet doesn't make music great, or movies great, or books great, whatever you make, But the internet does have a profound impact on things, and it's going to become even greater. And I think it will drive this fragmentation further, and it will have very profound effects on how it already has and is, and and what we're working on here is adjusting to that, and we're going to all have to do it even greater. It's going to be even greater down the road, And I think you'll see business models change dramatically, many years from now. I think that'll take time. They don't change overnight, but it's just inevitable, So I think it's an exciting time.